Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another Logan Blackman Show preview. This one is obviously for the 2024 Copa America hosted here in the great United States. This is the second time in the past decade the United States has hosted a Copa America. Obviously, remember back to 2016, the Copa America Centenario, where Chile ended up winning the championship. That was their second straight Copa America championship. And then it was so weird because they won back-to-back, and they ended up missing the 2018 World Cup, and they also missed the 2018 World Cup. But we'll get more to Chile here in a little bit, but I am excited to present to you this prediction video. Obviously, the last video we did covered the Euros. We just did our Euro 2024 prediction. You can go check that out in the description down below, or I'll link it somewhere on the screen, or put it in like a little eye thing in the corner. I don't remember exactly what it's called or what it means to put it up there, but I'm excited. I'm very excited. The tournament on home soil. I'm not saying the United States is going to be like world beaters or anything, especially if that game against Colombia is anything to go off of. And I will say this is getting recorded before the United States takes on Brazil. So the thought process of the United States going into this tournament is already a lot different after that result against Colombia, but it can only get worse. It could potentially get better, but it could get so much worse if the result against Brazil is what a lot of people are expecting, especially since Brazil is pretty much, per reports, bringing out an extremely strong squad, or at least one of the strongest squads they can bring to this friendly against the United States. But time will tell on that. You will obviously know what the result of that game is and what everybody else's feelings are about the United States going into the tournament. And as you know, we love to follow the United States throughout these summer tournaments. We've done previous videos about the Gold Cups. This is the biggest tournament we've done to date. I'm excited. Obviously, again, the Euros start on Friday, so make sure to go check out that video. And also, while you're down in the description, make sure to check out all the different links to the Logan Blackman Show, whether that's social media, whether that's the podcast itself or the website. Just make sure to go check it out. Links will be down in the description below. And without further ado, let's just get right into this. Obviously, we've got a different predictor on the screen right now. We're not doing the Telegraph. No. I'm not getting tricked to doing any subscriptions this time, because remember I said I didn't need one, and then it was like, hold on, you need one. You need to pay, I think it was like $1 a month, which I'm going to cancel that swiftly after recording this video, because I just forgot, I just remembered actually, that I have that subscription. So I probably should cancel that sooner rather than later, because I don't read the Telegraph or the newspaper in general. But we are here on Foot Mob, going through Copa America. Going through the Copa America, so might as well get this thing on the road. Okay, so now you see in front of me right now, we've got the groups. We got Group A, featuring Argentina, Canada, Chile, and Peru. Group B, we got Ecuador, Jamaica, Mexico, and Venezuela. Group C, Bolivia, Panama, Uruguay, and the United States. And Group D, we have Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, and Paraguay. I love the Copa America. It's so much fun. I do hope, obviously being a biased fan, of course, that the United States do put on a little bit like, okay, the last time they went to the Copa America, they performed well. But that 4-0 loss to Argentina didn't really sit well at the time, and that kind of fears me going into this. And again, we bring up the Colombia game again. That doesn't really fill me with the utmost confidence, watching how bad that game was against a team that is going to be in the Copa America, a team that the United States could potentially play in the knockout stages. It's kind of scary thinking about that. But we're not going to talk fully about the United States yet. We'll have full rants and stuff as the Copa America goes along when we release our United States videos. Right now, we are just going through group by group, prediction by prediction, not game by game, but you know what I'm saying. So we're going to go right into this Group A. I don't want to be too obvious, but it kind of feels like Argentina are primed to make yet another run at the Copa America crown. Obviously, they won the last one, Messi's first international trophy. If we're discounting the Olympic gold medal that he got when he was in the youth academies or the underage groups. But yeah, that Copa America was awesome. We saw Brazil versus Argentina in the final, which is like a dream for everybody who wants to watch fun international soccer, especially down in South America. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest rivalry in all of soccer. And to see that in a final and see Messi versus Neymar in a final was just beautiful. Now, we're obviously not going to see Neymar in this tournament as he tore his ACL, but we'll get to Brazil here in a little bit. As for Argentina, This is, again, a very strong squad. They go into the tournament as the favorites, rightfully so. You look at the last 2 tournaments they've been in, the Copa America and the World Cup, they came out victorious in both. Now, this squad that they brought is kind of similar to the squad that they brought to the 2022 World Cup. You'll see a lot of familiar names in there, some older faces in there, like Messi is obviously still there, Angel Di Maria is there, Nicolas Otamendi is still there, Emiliano Martinez is still there. Obviously, he's one of the better goalkeepers in the world right now, but you've got some very good players in this team. Like at the back line, along with Nicolas Otamendi. We'll see what they do with Otamendi because he is getting older, as we said before. You got Cristian Romero, obviously, there, who partnered Otamendi throughout the World Cup. Lisandro Martinez, who had a very good showing in the FA Cup final for Manchester United. Like, there's good players throughout, even as you get further up the field. Like Enzo Fernandez, we're expecting to see more out of him, as his Chelsea stint hasn't been, the greatest up into this point. Alexis McAllister is also there. The striker position will be one to watch, though, for Argentina, because Julian Alvarez is there, who started the final against France, and Lautaro Martinez. And Martinez is coming off a season where he just captained Inter Milan to a dominating Serie A title. Had an insane season for him, but obviously the national team hasn't really been his forte, I guess you could say. So we might see Julian Alvarez start right away, but it's hard to discount what Lautaro Martinez did this past season for Inter Milan. Obviously, Alejandro Garnacho is there as well. Just a fun team, stacked team, experienced team, and we're going to have them finish atop the group to the shock of everybody out there. Oh my God, you bet you did not see that coming. You didn't see that coming, seeing Argentina finish atop the group here, but finishing in second place in this group. As you can see, we got the odds next to them on the screen. I flipped back and forth with this quite a few times. Like, we'll start with Peru. Peru, I spoiler alert, I don't have finishing second, but I've toyed around with Peru a lot. Guerrero is still there. Paulo Guerrero, 40 years old, is still kicking it for the national team. Now, he has only scored 1 goal in his last 15 international caps for Peru, so that's not ideal, and the fact he's getting older. But Galaci is still in net for Peru. Galaci is still in net for Peru, which is obviously a safe pair of hands there, as an over 100 caps for the national team as well as having Renato Tapia in the midfield, who had a very solid season for Celta Vigo. But in second place, we are going to have Chile. We're going to have finishing second. The likes of Alexis Sanchez are still there. Eduardo Vargas, Claudio Bravo is still there. Isla is still there. Like, they've got a lot of experience. They aren't the same Chile that we saw, like we brought up in 2015 and 2016. As we have talked about before, they missed the 2018 and 2022 World Cups. But their head coach, Ricardo Gareca, was the head coach of Peru when they finished second in the Copa America not too long ago. And Peru, I know that the reason I've struggled with this, and Peru is also last place in the World Cup qualifying race right now, but the reason I struggled so much with Peru is because it feels like they're always a tough-ass team in Copa America. But Chile has the pedigree. They still have the players there, even though they're not the same players that they once were. Maybe you're going to see someone like Ben Brereton Diaz step up in this tournament, who played well for a really bad Sheffield United team. And within reason, he only scored 6 goals this season for Sheffield United, but again, it's the level of the team that he's in. So you gotta put all of that into account for him this season. But I am going to have Chile finishing second in this group. I am going to have Peru finishing third because, again, they always seem to do well at Copa America. And Canada, I know there's a lot of people talking about that 0-0 draw with France. But remember, in 2018, the United States, who didn't make the World Cup, drew with France prior to the World Cup. And France obviously went on to win that summer's tournament as well. But you look a little bit further back, you have the 4-0 loss to the Netherlands. Like, it's a weird situation for Canada. Jesse Marsh was appointed as the new head coach there. Obviously got the likes of Alphonso Davies, Stefan Eustachio in midfield. That front line of Kyle Larin and Jonathan David, who's coming off another impressive season for Lille. We could see a big move for him coming up. Kone will partner, one would assume would partner Eustachio in midfield. Tejan Buchanan has a lot of, they got speed for days in this Canadian side. I'm intrigued what they're going to do in net. Crepeau is still there. Dane St. Clair is still there. I would imagine Crepeau is going to be the starter in this tournament, but Canada, they have talent. I don't want to make it sound like this is a completely washed national side and that they're going to be like just fed to the wolves per se in this tournament, because they got the talent to keep up, but I just have a hard time with this group because, again, Argentina, the reigning world champions and reigning Copa America champions. Chile are usually fairly tough in this tournament. And Peru, like with Chile, are very tough. Even though they're not doing great in World Cup qualifying right now, they are a tough outfit in this tournament, and I don't know if Canada is going to have drive's not the right word, but you know what I'm trying to say here. So I'm going to have begrudge, like, Canada's a good team, but we're going to have them finishing last. Group B, we have 2 CONCACAF teams in this one. We obviously got Jamaica and Mexico. As far as I can tell, at least from my research, Jamaica has not released their official squad for Copa America yet, but we still got a week till the tournament. Like, this video is going to come out on Thursday. The first game between Argentina and Canada will be next Thursday, the 20th. So, I mean, they've got time, but we have some idea of what the squad's going to look like for Jamaica. Obviously, there's some question marks around Andre Blake's availability going into this term. He just had knee surgery. He's got a 4 to 6 week window, and he got the surgery at the end of May. So it'll be a very touchy situation about what they do there. But obviously, they got like Damian Lowe at center back. Michael Hector's there. Damari Gray. But there's going to be some question marks around Leon Bailey, who apparently has not been talking to the Jamaican Federation. So it'll be intriguing to see what he does. But Jamaica, I liked some of the players they have. I always talk about when we go into the Gold Cups and stuff like that they're one of the teams to watch throughout these tournaments. But I guess we're going in reverse order. I am going to have Jamaica finishing last in this group. Third to last, or second to last, I guess I should say. I didn't plan on going in reverse order like this, but we're going to have Venezuela there. Though they haven't won a game in what feels like forever, I just feel like they have the experience within this tournament to see them not come in last in this group. They got some older players in their team, like Solomon Rondon's still kicking it. Thomas Riccone is still there as well. I just think that they'll just have a little bit of an edge over Jamaica in this and coming third. Second place, this is a tough one between Mexico and Ecuador. Mexico's in a very weird spot right now. You look at some of the players they left off this tournament, like Chucky Lozano is not in this tournament. Raul Jimenez, Memo Ochoa is not going to be in this tournament. Henry Martin is not going to be in this tournament either. Like, there's a lot of change that's going on in the Mexican Football Federation right now, especially when you look at the loss to the United States again in the Nations League Cup final. This is going to be a tournament to watch and see what they have, because no one really knows. No one really knows what's going to be, what team's going to show up in this tournament. Obviously, they do have some quality in there. Santiago Jimenez is going to be the main guy up there. I mean, you just look at the season that he just had for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie. Edson Alvarez is obviously still there, has some versatility, can play in the midfield, can also play in the back line as well, as we saw against their friendly against Brazil. It'll be intriguing to watch Ariel Antuna and Julio Quinones, who's a dual nat, just switched over from Colombia. So they'll be on the wings. At least that's what the expectation is, and with obviously Jimenez in the center. Goalkeeper is going to be another one to watch here as well, as we obviously brought up Memo Ochoa not going to be in here. Luis Malagon, who was going to replace Ochoa in this tournament, got hurt prior to the Brazil game, so one would expect Julio Gonzalez to take that number 1 shirt. Not technically take the number 1 shirt, because I think he's wearing the number 12 jersey for Mexico right now, but you get the picture. Being the number 1 for this tournament for Mexico is going to be very big. Like, there's just some question marks here. I do think Mexico still have the quality to finish relatively decently in this tournament, but I am going to have them finishing second, unfortunately. And then in first, I am going to have Ecuador. Ecuador are a fun team. They're a fun team. Enter Valencia, we know how he loves to play in these big-time tournaments. He's a big-time player for Ecuador. He's a little bit older, but Ecuador's got some very, very good players in their squad as well. Starting with their backline, you look at like the Piero Hincapié over at Bayer Leverkusen. We brought Bayer Leverkusen up so much in the last video, but he was a main factor in that undefeated season. He's linked with a big move this summer as well. William Pacho is another one, another player for Ecuador that plays in Germany, another center back. In their last friendly they played, Hincapié played at left back and Pacho played at left center back. It's a very solid tandem right there. 2 young center backs, both linked with big moves this summer. And obviously you got the likes of Moise Caicedo, who turned it on late in the season for Chelsea. He ended up being a relatively good player for them, because there were some question marks when he first made the move to Chelsea and that massive ass move from Brighton. But it took some time, and he became one of the best players at the club. He scored a 50-yard screamer, again, or 50-yard goal. I shouldn't say screamer. I haven't seen it a little bit, so I can't remember if he chipped it or he shot it, put it on a freaking dot in the net. But 50-yard goal against Bournemouth to end the season, he's going to be one of their main guys in this tournament from that midfield spot. And speaking of Chelsea, Kendry Páez, 17 years old, made his international debut at 16, rocking the number 10 jersey for Ecuador going into this tournament. He's making a move to Chelsea once he turns 18. He's going to be a very, 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 very fun player to watch going into this tournament, that creative number 10 position for Ecuador. And like I said before, all those players that we mentioned, very, very talented, all very young as well. Ecuador's, except for Enter Valencia. Enter Valencia is a little bit older, but apart from him, they've got a very good squad who's only going to get better, one would assume. I am going to have Ecuador finish atop the group, so we're going to have Ecuador, Mexico, Venezuela, and Jamaica. Moving on to Group C. This one I think is probably one of the more straightforward groups. At least I hope so. Knock on wood, of course. And throughout all the Copa America, because of the fact it should realistically just end with Uruguay on top, U.S. coming in second, Panama in third, and Bolivia in last. I don't really think I need to explain the Bolivia pick, and I am sorry to any Bolivians out there that are offended by me putting them in last place. I just don't really see it. But as for the top dogs in this group, or Uruguay, they bring a strong squad. They bring a very, very strong squad. Luis Suarez is still there. He's having a decent season for Inter Miami right now. You got the likes of Darwin Núñez, Federico Valverde, who just won another Champions League with Real Madrid. You got Bentancur from Tottenham. You got Facundo Pellistri, who's not on the same level. I'm not sitting here saying he's on the same level as those guys, but still. You got the likes of Jose Maria Jimenez back there at center back. You got Araujo from Barcelona, Rochette in net. Like, this is a very, very good team, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if they just went through this group on 9 points. It wouldn't really shock me if this group just ended up being 9-6-3-0. It wouldn't shock me at all. And again, I'm sorry to Bolivia if that's being a little too harsh on you, but that's just how I see it at this point in time. And as for the United States, brought the Colombia game before. Not great. Not a great look going into a major tournament, especially a major tournament that you are hosting. And again, we will go more about the United States later when we go through the whole game-by-game prediction videos. But the United States does have some quality in this squad. Matt Turner net, he hasn't had the greatest season for Nottingham Forest, so some people started to question his starting place with Gaga Slonina there. Not in this current squad, but you got the likes of Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson still. I would love to see Gaga Slonina much more than Sean Johnson in this tournament, but Ethan Horvath, for the current state of things, could be pushing Matt Turner to a certain extent for the number 1 jersey. Obviously, there's no Serginho Dest going in. Obviously, tore his ACL with PSV after having what seemed like a very good season. Or not seemed like, was just a very good season. All the Americans that played at PSV seemingly had good years. Malik Tillman had a good year. Ricardo Pepi, who were also in the squad, had solid years over the Netherlands. And you've got obviously the main guys here, like Pulisic, Reyna, Weah, Balogun. We'll see how he does in this tournament. Haji Wright had a great season for Coventry this past year. Might see him play off the wing a little bit. You got Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoso, Musa, McKennie, Chris Richards, Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson. Like, it's a good squad. This is a very solid squad for the United States. It's probably one of the best squads they could have brought. Now, there's some odd pieces in there. You got the Timmy Tillmans of the world. You got the Shaq Moores of the world in there. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if Shaq Moore played a decent amount in this tournament, just giving what we know about Greg Berhalter. But I saw a quote today regarding this group. This group is so straightforward for the United States. Not even Greg Berhalter can mess this one up. But hey, don't challenge him. Don't challenge. He likes a challenge. But the United States has all the tools necessary to finish second in this group. As for Panama, they're a solid team. They always give the United States problems. If you look back at the last Gold Cup, they knocked the United States out in the semifinals on penalties. Not ideal. You got Anibal Godoy in midfield. You got Carrasquilla in midfield, who was the Golden Ball winner at the last Gold Cup. And Panama's got some experienced players in and throughout that squad. I think they're like Jamaica, though. I don't think they've officially announced their Copa America squad yet, but one could assume some of the players that they're going to have in this tournament. We are going to have them finishing in third place again. Bolivia, finishing in last. And then Group D, one of the groups to watch, if not the group to watch in this tournament. Obviously, the main guys there are Brazil and Colombia. Colombia are coming off a 22-match unbeaten streak, and that continued against the United States in that 5-1 drubbing that we had over in Landover, Maryland the other day. But that's not important because Colombia's not playing the United States yet. But Brazil, we'll start with them because they got Vinicius Jr., who's the favorite to win the Ballon d'Or this year. And if Brazil wins this tournament, it's a stamp of approval for Vinicius to win the Ballon d'Or this year. You also got the likes of Rodrigo, Lucas Paqueta in midfield. Bruno Guimaraes is there. This is a big tournament, though. The one player a lot of people should be paying attention to. And I'm not sitting here like I've discovered this person and that, Logan, thank you for telling us about this guy. It's not like he's making a move to Real Madrid or anything. Endrick, I'm excited to see what he does in this tournament. I don't know how much he'll play. I don't know if he'll start, but there's a hole there at the striker position. They're playing Rodrigo there at striker. That's what some of the rumors have suggested, because Vinicius is staying on that left. Vinicius is not moving off that left, but they're so good. Allison is still there. Gabriel Mangalesh is still there. Marquinhos. Like, there's so many good players throughout this squad, even though there's no Neymar, no Casemiro, no Gabriel Jesus, no Richarlison. Like, those players aren't even here. And it's still a very strong squad. But Colombia, again, in this 22-match unbeaten streak, one of those games was against Brazil. They beat Brazil 2-1. I think it was back in either October or November. So there's some history here. James Rodriguez is still in the squad. Duran from Aston Villa, I just saw a little bit ago, he's getting linked with a move to Chelsea, scored 2 goals late against Liverpool later in the season. Yeah, he's looking really good. There's some question marks about what the striker position is going to be for Colombia in this tournament. So he could be the main guy there. Borre, he scored a goal against the United States at the number 9 lat the other day. Luis Diaz, obviously one of the best players on the team. Davison Sanchez, David Ospina, one of the more experienced players throughout this entire tournament, one of the best goalies in all of Copa America. Like, there's some serious talent here, and they are feeling themselves. They are very much feeling themselves, but I am going to have Brazil finishing atop the group with Colombia in second, and I am going to have Paraguay just beating out Costa Rica for that third place spot. I like Cisco for Paraguay. Miguel Almiron is obviously still there. Like, I like some of the players Paraguay has. Costa Rica, no Keylor Navas, just retired. Joel Campbell is still there, somehow. But I am going to have Paraguay finishing third in that group. And those are our group predictions. Again, Group A, Argentina, Chile, Peru, and Canada. Group B, Ecuador, Mexico, Venezuela, and Jamaica. Group C, Uruguay, the United States, Panama, and Bolivia. And then Group D, Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, and Costa Rica. Moving on to the knockout stage. We've now only got 4 games here. Only got 4 games. We got less games here than the Euros. So Argentina versus Mexico, fairly simple. That one, I think. Ecuador versus Chile. This was, again, I struggled picking Chile and Peru. I am going to pick Ecuador because of the players we brought up before. Uruguay versus Colombia. I'm going to pick Colombia there. And then Brazil versus the United States. I mean, we'll get a little bit of a preview of that on Wednesday, but I am going to pick Brazil. I don't really see the United States pulling off an insane upset here. Maybe I'm wrong, and that'd be awesome to see, but I just can't see it at this point in time. But also, my mind is still thinking about the Colombia game, and I haven't seen the Brazil game, so maybe if they beat Brazil, maybe my mind would change about that. But we haven't seen it yet, so I can only go off what I currently know. Moving on to the knockout stage, or the semifinals, I should say. Argentina versus Ecuador. I am going to go Argentina there, and then I am going to have an upset here. I think I'm going to have Colombia beating Brazil. I think I'm going to have that there. Again, Colombia are riding high right now. Finishing second in the group does not mean that they lost to Brazil. This could be like they tied against Brazil and beat the other 2 teams in the group, and they just came in second off goal difference. That number 9 position is going to be very interesting for them. Same goes for Brazil, though, because they don't have a recognized number 9 going into this tournament apart from Endrick. And they got like Evan Nilsson from Porto, I guess, is there. But Rafinha or Rodrigo playing as the number 9 potentially. Maybe that works out for them. But I think I'm going to have Colombia. We're going to have a slight upset. We're going to have a slight upset there with Colombia finishing above Brazil. And then I am just going to be boring and say Argentina win. And then the bronze medal game, we're going to have Brazil beating Ecuador. So those are my save locally. I don't want to sign into anything. I'm trying to avoid signing into stuff now. But those are my Copa America predictions. Hope you enjoyed. You're probably going to be exactly right, as we said. Given my track record of prediction videos and stuff like that, I usually do fairly great at doing this kind of stuff, so we know these are going to be exactly right. So if you are going to place bets, these are the ones to look at right here. This video is the one to look at. But again, thank you as much. Thank you Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every one of you watching. Make sure you subscribe down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And I've been Logan Blackman. This has been the Copa America predictions. We'll see you guys for the United States game-by-game previews. Peace.